right, here we go. Creating live broadcast. And then I see what you're saying. I can see comments here.
There you go.
Okay.
And it says, I don't have access to the comments, so only you can see them.
Okay. All right. So I will let you know if somebody pops a question.
Right.
So we live?
Man, I want to see. I want to see. No.
Oh, man. We'll figure that out.
I guess we're live. It says live at the top, so it means we're live. Cool.
Awesome. Well, hi, everybody. You know me. I'm Jamie. This is Bronson Dant, and we are super excited to talk to you guys about all things fitness, or maybe some things and more, depending on what you guys want to talk about. We have some questions that you have sent in, which is amazing. We're going to cover those, and we just want to keep it casual and see how things go, right?
Casual. I like casual.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about anything that Bronson shares or that I share or just anything at all, throw it in the comments. I'll see that and we can talk about that. So let's get started. All right. So, okay. So Bronson, tell us a little bit about yourself. What led you to your passion and working with, you know, other people.
Old people. Yeah. I work with old people.
Yeah. So your focus right now is over 40, right?
Yes. Yes.
And men in particular. However, you shared recently that a large part of your audience are women.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but you have experience working with both.
Oh, a lot. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So I initially started this process kind of thinking I want to focus on other people like me. And since I'm a guy, that was included in that. Right. So I'm 48 years old. I'll be 49 in May. I have not always been in shape. I've been fit. I've been fat. Fit is way better. I can tell you that. And I understand the process of the change and going through that stage of life where you kind of look in the mirror one day or see a picture of yourself at the beach, as was my case, and kind of go, whoa, wait a second. That's not where I want to be. There's something going on. I got to fix it. So that's kind of what started it for me. I was like 38, 39. My daughter took a picture of me sitting at Ocean City, sitting on the beach. And I saw it later that day and was like, what in the world? Like, there's no way that cannot be me, because that's not what I had in my head. So that kind of is what got me started.
Okay.
So it's been almost 10 years now since I've been into fitness. It's been about 8 years or so since I've been coaching and done a bunch of stuff. I'm a level 3 CrossFit coach. I do weightlifting, kettlebells, powerlifting. I'm a personal trainer. Like, there's a ton of different things that I do. And I've gone the gamut of being a coach in CrossFit gyms to owning a CrossFit gym, to being a personal trainer, to working one-on-one with people online, in person. Like, I do a little bit of all of it. So a lot of experience, helped a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of different scenarios. And like you said, right now I'm focusing with people over 40. So if you're over 40, this talk is for you. If you're 39, this talk is still for you.
Yeah. And I love that, because I know we were just chatting prior to going live. And I hear it all the time that, you know, people our age or a little bit older, you know, that aren't very active right now, you know, they're starting to experience some maybe physical discomforts, or maybe they're injured, or they just know that they should be more active and they feel they're just not, and they're kind of scared, or or they're not prepared, or they don't know where to start or how to start.
Right.
So what do you find, like when a client first comes to you, maybe that fits that category? You know, what are some of the concerns that they have, or how
much time do we have? There's everybody's different. Everybody's got a bunch of different things. I know. I'll just use, so we're talking about people that are over 40. I love using my mom as an example, and I use her, I kind of like, she's been through it all. So I started working with her when she was 60. She was 60 years old before she ever did anything for her fitness. Okay. Never went to a gym, never exercised, like had never even thought about what fitness was all about. So because she wanted to support me in my endeavors, She, you know, I opened a gym. I started doing this stuff. She wanted to support me. So she was like, okay, maybe I'll do this. He says I need to. I'm getting old. She has thyroid issues. She had osteopenia. So she was osteoporotic. And she had just things that she was experiencing life that she was realizing this is not where I want to be. Her mother was in the hospital getting ready to pass. You know, there's just all these things that were just happening at that time. So she's 60 years old. She comes to me. We do some personal training for a while. And her biggest fear was, I don't think I can do this. I can't, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't, for sure, she didn't want to join a CrossFit gym where there were other people. It's like, I've never been to a gym. I'm not going to go into a gym where there's other people watching what I'm doing. There's no way in heck that's happening. So we spent several months, just me and her in an empty gym, just working out on things to get her to a point where she felt comfortable enough to then say, okay, maybe I'll try a class, right? So it's baby steps. Finding what you're comfortable with, being uncomfortable with, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
There's in order to make a change, to do something different, you have to get uncomfortable a little bit. That doesn't mean the level of uncomfortable, is that grammatically correct? The level of uncomfortable doesn't have to be so big. It can be just step outside that zone a little bit. It doesn't have to be a jump, take a step, right? Something that you're comfortable, I think I can handle this much, then do that. It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Yeah. I love that you brought up your mom. And for those of you that are watching, I actually shared a post. It was a interview that he did with his mom, talked all about her experience, and it's just amazing. I loved it. It's pulled on my heartstrings. Your mom is so funny, and you can tell she's just such a good-hearted person.
Yeah.
But I love that because she shared that she's like, I was not athletic at all, and she shared her concerns and her health issues. And she also shared, it was just amazing. I forget what the numbers were, but that she started off not being able to lift much at all. Like she was using very small dumbbells, sorry. And then she was like, now I can deadlift. And I don't know what the number was, but it was pretty amazing. She was deadlifting and doing.
She can deadlift right now. She can deadlift more than her own body weight.
That's awesome.
So, and
she's like
60, she just turned 68.
Nice.
Okay. So she's been doing it. It's amazing. The change in mindset when someone first gets started, and being aware of, it's okay. Number one, it's okay to be afraid. This is something new. This is something different. You're not sure what's going to happen. You don't know what to expect. That's perfectly understandable. Find someone you trust and follow their lead, right? So that's why working with someone like you, Jamie, you know, if you guys will listen to me and you can build a trust with me and understand that I'm going to try to help, or any trainer, any program, whatever it is, and take that first step. Because once you take the step, you immediately, and I like how you posted this in one of your things, right? Every exercise, every workout is an opportunity to build on success. So the minute you take that step in whatever direction you want to go, no matter how big that step is, you are successful and you can build on that. I did it once. That means I can do it again. And if I can do it again, I can do it again after that. And then once you make a habit of doing those things over and over again, they just build on each other. And then 8 years later, like my mom, her favorite thing to do is deadlift and squat and do exercises, right? I just actually today installed a rower in her basement.
Nice.
I put a rower together because she's like, I'm tired of running on the treadmill. I need something else to do cardio. Yeah. So she, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. She's got a gym in her basement. 8 years ago, I never would have expected that my mom would have a plyometric box, barbells, full-size plates, a squat rack, a rower, a treadmill, all of this in her basement so she can work out on her own. Like, who are you? Like, what?
And I love it because in the interview that you had with her, you could just tell how proud she was of herself too. You know, like that she was just in disbelief at one point. And, you know, now she just, and she went and reviewed, and you guys can go back and look at this, but like all of her metabolic markers, you know, you mentioned she had thyroid issues and all of these things drastically improved.
Absolutely.
And her, like even bone density, like everything, like she was just like, it's just amazing.
Reversed her osteoporosis. She no longer osteoporotic.
That's great.
So between
That's
her
amazing.
between her nutrition, between exercising, she did take some calcium. There's a specific calcium supplement she took, but the combination of all of that, and her thyroid medication, every time she goes to the doctor, he has to drop it down. He's like, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it because it's going down every time you come
I
in.
love
So,
stories like that.
yeah, it's great.
I love
It's
it.
great.
So do you want to
Sure.
get into some of these questions that were shared with us?
Did I answer the first one? Like, kind of like, what are things people afraid of? I think the biggest thing people are afraid of is the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's very general. That's very general. I don't know what to expect. But just like I said, the things that can mitigate that is work with someone that you trust, right? And that they have that they know what they're doing, and you get that by their experience and you getting to know them and learning from the other people that they've helped, right? If you get with someone who's never helped anybody before, you might want to think, okay, right? Experience is a big key. Make sure that they're really invested in you and your goals, and they're not just trying to push their own agenda. I see it all the time. People who are so dogmatic about this is the way it needs to happen, and if you can't do it this way, then you're messed up, right? No, that doesn't work that way. Everybody's got a different story to tell, and the program that people are working in need to fit that story.
Yes.
Right? We're all going in the same direction, but that doesn't mean we're all starting at the same point on the road. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
I love that.
Yeah, and take your time. Take your time. No rush. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're 80 years old and listening to this, you do not have to rush. You do not have to make up 80 years of not working out in 8 weeks. Okay? Just any progress that you make, any movement forward is going to help improve your quality of life. So just take it as it comes.
I love all.
You don't need to force the issue.
That's so true. And then just before we get into the questions, it just reminded me of another fear that people have that maybe you can touch on a little bit is injury.
Yes.
So I hear a lot from people that aren't maybe really active, or maybe they used to be, and it's been 10 years or 15 years, and they're fearful of getting back into it or lifting weight because they don't want to get injured. And then on top of that, you can answer the two of these. It's just related questions. When you are working out or you start to work out, I often hear from people, if they do feel really, really sore the next day, they don't want to move, right? They just want to lay around for a few days. And this is actually one of the questions that somebody posted, because they were like, I'm just getting started and I feel really rough after working out, even if I don't do anything super intense. And then I don't want to move for a few days. And then I have friends that are into fitness that are like, the worst thing you can do is not move. Is that true? It just depends on what kind of I guess.
Yeah, it depends on why you're sore. If your muscles are sore, it's probably a good idea to get some movement in. If you're sore because you hurt something, that's a whole different discussion. I don't know what someone may be doing. In general, when you first get started, if you feel like you're sore every time you work out, then you need to step it back. That means you're doing too much to start, right? You can't just jump in after not doing anything for years and then jump into a regular routine. You need to step into what your body can handle. So in the exercise science world, there's something called the maximum recovery volume. And that is the term for the most work that you can do and recover in a timely manner to do that same work or more again. Okay, basically, if I go for a run and I run as hard as possible for a 5K, and then my back is sore, my legs are sore, my calves are sore, everything is sore, and I can't walk for 4 days, I shouldn't have run a 5K and I shouldn't have run it that fast. Right? Because the recovery time, you should be able to train something every 2 to 3 days. So if you're doing something and you can't walk or you can't get out of bed or it hurts so much that you can't do anything with it for 3 or 4 days or 5 days, then that means you're doing too much. Okay. Step it back, step it back and work into it.
So what would be an example of someone taking baby steps that is just getting started? Maybe they're not active at all, or maybe, what would be something good that you would suggest them start?
Yeah, so a lot of body weight stuff is a great place to start, especially if you're at home and you don't have a lot of equipment or whatever. Body weight stuff is fantastic work. I have a lot of clients that I work with who haven't done anything for a while. They don't touch a weight for months sometimes, because just standing and then squatting down and then standing up again takes everything out of it. There's no need to add weight. You don't need bands. You don't need dumbbells. You don't need kettlebells. You don't need barbells. If just moving your body around is exhausting. If walking up the stairs puts you out of breath, then start just walking up the stairs more often, right? It doesn't take a lot. Do something that pushes you a little bit more than where you are right now, and then find what's next after that, right? The best thing to do, honestly, is to be in groups like this, be in groups like I have my own group that's fitness related. Find a personal trainer, find a community that you can learn from, and they're in the same places as you are. So outside of literally hiring someone to be with you 24/7 a day, which I wish everybody could afford to do that because it would change so many people's lives. You need to surround yourself with people and information that you have access to 24/7, right? So that's probably the best thing there, right? To help keep you from overdoing it. That was
Thanks.
kind of a ramble, but
no, that's great. Several of the
I ramble a lot. So if anybody's listening, have ever listened to any of my stuff, I ramble. I get on tangents and start talking about stuff.
No,
because I kind of just talk as my brain processes.
I do the same thing. I do. I'm like, okay, need to refocus. But no, I love it. I love everything, everything that you said there. So before we get into the questions, if anyone listening has a question, remember, you can just plug it in the chat and I can ask him. So if you have anything specific, that you want to ask, then please do that.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. All right. Let's see. Let's jump into, we just covered a couple of these.
Sure.
So, okay, well, here's one. If doing a natural 12-hour intermittent fasting, so this is another topic, is it okay to work out during these fasting hours?
Sure. I'm assuming a natural 12-hour intermittent fasting means you're fasting while you're sleeping. What's a natural? I'm not sure what a natural 12-hour intermittent fasting means. So there's maybe, so maybe that means you go to bed, you wake up, and you do a workout in the morning fasting.
I would assume.
Is that what they're talking about?
That's what I took it as.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Go for it. Have a blast.
Okay.
Have a blast.
So do you feel like, is this a situation where you should just listen to your body?
Yeah. And listen to your body and track your trends. What kind of progress? And so what are your goals? Always the first question. Why are you doing it? What's your ultimate goal? And then if you're going to make a change, why are you making that change? Do you think it's going to help you get there faster, more efficiently, easier on your lifestyle, whatever it may be? Your goal has to be the number one thing that you're evaluating against. So why are you doing a 12-hour intermittent fast? First of all, is the question. What do you think you're going to get out of that? And then two, it's absolutely okay. There's some information out there, and I think the book is still out on better or best working out fasted or not. But there is some information out there that says it does help with body composition if you work out fasted. I wouldn't say in general for most people, the vast majority of people, it really doesn't matter. Your body composition is really controlled by two things: your protein intake and how much weight you move in your workouts. So if you're doing resistance training and you're getting adequate protein throughout the day, not talking about timing, okay, because people will talk about timing your meals and all that kind of stuff. Don't even worry about that. Get the food in that you need in a 24-hour period consistently and work out heavy, move heavy weight. What is heavy for you, not what you think is heavy for other people. Heavy for you may be just getting up and down in a chair, right? So remember that, guys. It's not about what you think heavy is by looking at other people. What is heavy for you? If you start doing that, you're going to start seeing faster body composition changes.
Okay. Yeah, I get that question a lot, or I shouldn't say a lot, but I've had questions around intermittent fasting, and I know in my own personal experience, I don't I mean, sometimes it just naturally, maybe that's what she meant by
It
natural.
just
Like if you're
happens.
not planning, you're just
That
like,
could be another one. Yeah, absolutely.
right, right. So, but I found that I used to always think that I had to eat before I worked out. I don't know why. You know, sometimes you
Mhm.
get these messages, right? So
Yeah.
I always,
Well,
yeah, I always
yeah,
thought
that's
that like, you know, oh, I just have to eat something, and not only that, but that I had to eat some carbs.
I was
So in
that,
the
right.
morning, just the thought of working out without eating, I was just like, I could never do that.
Right.
And then, you know, you learn some things and, you know, talk to people.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I'm gonna experiment with this a little bit. So it was hard at first. And this is only, I have learned over just experimentation with myself, that if I work out early in the morning, I actually feel that I feel better and do better working out fasted. Um, but if I were to wait till like even 11 or 12 and it's like a crazy workout and I hadn't eaten since, you know, 7 o'clock the day before, then I don't,
You don't feel as good.
I'm not, my performance isn't as great.
Yeah.
I burn out quicker.
Yeah,
So
and everyone's different in their goal, in their schedule, in what their nutrition profile
true.
looks like, right? So if you're asking me, for the way that I eat, because I'm fat adapted, I firmly believe in the ketogenic lifestyle, and I use body fat, I use fat that I have stored for fuel. I can work out, I could not eat for 24 hours, go for a workout, and I'm fine,
Right.
right? I could not eat for 24 hours, go for a 5K, and I'm fine, because I have fat on my body that I can use for fuel. It's not a big deal. So I don't need to eat before.
Right.
The reason I would eat before or after is just to make sure I'm getting my protein in. But then again, that's also just throughout the day. So as long as I eat my stuff, you know, sometime in the day, I'm fine there as well.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know if you do a lot of ketogenic stuff with your clients and you talk about it mostly. Are you
It's
more
really
just whole?
depends.
Are you more just whole
I
foods?
am definitely whole real foods first.
Yeah.
And then I meet them. If somebody is coming in and that's, you know, something that they want to work on, becoming more fat adapted, then we definitely look at that and work on that and talk about that.
Right. Right.
But then there's just this whole, you know, looking at like, can you properly digest fats? Can you, and
There's other stuff
there's a
that goes
lot of,
into it.
exactly,
Yeah.
and we won't get into that here, but it's definitely, like you said, a bio individual thing, right?
Mhm.
I mean, everybody's coming in with different things and,
Mhm.
like you said, goals and where they are health status wise and all
Right.
of that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah,
Let's see what else.
if you're fasting, do whatever works best for your schedule. I tell people that lifestyle and schedule usually comes first, right?
Mhm.
Second after your goal. So what is your goal, and then how do you make your lifestyle and schedule fit that? So if that means you need to work out while you're fasted, then go for it. Have a blast.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We do have a question.
Sure.
This might be a short one. What rower do you recommend for home use? My husband
I
wants
only
one.
got the second half of that. Something for home use.
A rower. Do you have a recommendation
Oh,
for a rower? Her
so
husband wants
yeah, I
one.
mean, yeah, the Concept 2D model is the one you want to get. That's the one that it's the gold standard. I've never used or even bothered looking at any other brands.
Okay,
Right?
I've heard the same.
Yeah.
Heard that that's a good one.
So Concept 2 is what you want to get. I don't know where they are stock wise, because with all the lockdowns and everything, everybody was buying rowers and they've been out. They were on like a 3-month waiting list. So my mom ordered hers, I think, in like October last year, and it just came in
Oh my
yesterday.
gosh!
So yeah.
Wow. Would you recommend? Is it okay to purchase previously
It
used
should be, yeah. I mean,
rowers if you know the person?
there's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if you
Okay,
know the person or if you can trust that, you know, the source you're getting it from, and they're pretty easy to kind of check out and look into. I mean, if it
okay.
works or not.
It's
So
not like a child seat where it's like no.
yeah, right, right, right.
Okay. Okay. Well, here's another question. Okay. One might be okay. So, in regards to a good rotation schedule, as far as how many days heavy weights and how many days cardio would you recommend? And then the second part of that is I love compound workouts. It works the whole body mixed with
Mm-hmm.
weights, and I use 5 to 15 pounds and cardio mixed in. Is it okay to do these every day, or would you suggest something different?
Whew, boy, that's a rabbit hole. I got to think about how best to, okay.
So I guess
Yeah.
the question is about
Yeah.
the combination.
So,
Is it good to have a
yeah.
combination? Is it, okay.
So there's two things that I want to talk about here. One is functional fitness and the idea that if you want to train the movements that you replicate in your day-to-day life, okay? So you're training, the exercise that you do should include squatting, lunging, hinging. Let's make sure I can remember all these. Squatting, lunging, hinging, pushing, pulling, twisting, and walking. There's 7 of them. Okay. So whatever workouts you're doing, if you're just doing bicep curls and bench press, you're missing out. Okay. If you're just doing treadmill and elliptical, you're missing out. Okay. You need to do something where you're doing these movements because these are the movements, the 7 essential movements that we do that our human body just does. Right. We use our core, we twist, we bend, we do all these things. We take steps, we lunge, we squat, we pick things up off the floor, we push things, we pull things, like all of these things are stuff that we do. So those are the movements that you need to train. So that's the base foundation of what we call functional fitness. The second piece of that is there are energy systems. There's different tasks that our body performs, and we use energy differently based on the tasks that we're doing. So there's a quick, short energy that's available in our muscles called ATP that when we're doing something really fast, really heavy, it's, a couple seconds of effort, it uses that fuel. Then there's the glycolytic, which is that shorter, longer, maybe a minute, minute and a half to 2 minutes of work. Maybe we're running after our kid in the yard, whatever it may be, and we're using glycogen to fuel that. And then there's the longer stuff that's, 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of where we're doing those longer endurance things, going for a hike, going for a run, whatever it may be. So being able to train in each of those while also overlapping the 7 functional movements, essential movements, is really the pinnacle of what we want to talk about when we talk about a good fitness program, because we're getting the metabolic conditioning and we're getting the movement training, right? So you can do all of that with weights, with your body weight, with no weight, right? You can do it with bands, you can do it with kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, sandbags, medicine balls, whatever it may be, and you can kind of cover all those bases. So when it comes to what is best to include, the easy way to say it, and it's going to sound kind of funny, but pick things up and put them down really fast, right?
I like
That's really kind of what it is, right? Move weight. So there's 3 ways that I like to say it. You want to move weight, you want to move well, and you want to move often, right? Those are kind of the three ways you want to do that. As far as what's too much, how many days a week, I hope that
Yeah.
answered that. That was like the second question. The first question, like how often and what should I do? I think that kind of goes back into the what's working for you and what's not. If you feel like you did 5 days this week and you just feel just destroyed and you can't, like you're sore, you're achy, you get out of bed, you have no energy, whatever, you might want to knock it down to 3 days a week.
Okay.
Right. So it's listening to yourself. It's kind of getting that feedback and saying, hey, this is too much. I need to step it back. Maybe you can still do 5 days a week, but only do 30 minutes a day instead of an hour a day. Right. That could be a way to address it so that you maintain a routine. Like there's tons of different ways to approach it. But again, that's where having a coach, having a personal trainer, having a community that you're part of, where you can ask these questions and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. What do you think I should do? And get some kind of feedback.
Yeah. Yep. And there's a couple of comments, a lot of thank yous, and I've been hearing that as well. The individual that asked that question said, "Thank you. Yes, great answer." So,
Okay.
so thank you.
I answered the
Okay.
question. Woo. I hate when that happens. I'm always like putting them back in my ear.
Here we go. Okay. Here's one. Are there any important things to consider being female versus male when it comes to working out or when you're training, say, with a woman versus a man, that you keep in mind, or what should we know, if anything?
The biggest
Like,
thing, particularly with mothers, and you know where I'm going with this, is pelvic floor.
mhm.
There's a core in general in most women is usually lacking in strength and control. So particularly, that's something that I like to focus on a lot with women. And then pelvic floor stuff. I'm not a pelvic floor specialist, but I can help a little bit with that. But I do know some pelvic floor specialists. I know people that have been specifically trained that I can refer to if there's
Okay.
really issues. So incontinence, if you're doing box jumps, if you're doing jump rope, if you're walking, if you laugh too hard and you end up letting things go, that's a sign that you have some work to do. And that can directly lead to additional injuries and other things that affect your ability to train. So if you have those issues, I would work on getting those issues addressed before you really get hard into any kind of exercise routine.
Okay.
That's probably this
All
number
right.
one thing when it comes to women.
Cool. Thank you.
Other stuff, there's hormonal stuff and there's other things, particularly over 40. We talk about perimenopause and menopause, but that's
Right.
more from a nutrition standpoint. And also, that's from a fitness standpoint, that's more about just being aware about how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not want to work out that day. Like you may wake up in the morning and be like, you know what, I plan on working out, but it ain't happening. I'm gonna go for a walk and I'll be good. Like, so you have to be okay sometimes when you're going through those types of things to say, it's just not,
Yeah.
today's not the
And
day.
I'll just add really quick, we don't have to delve into this, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of literature and research and resources out there about where you are in your cycle. And, you know, there's a reason why you feel like crud,
Right.
before you start your
Right.
period, or that you're not getting those PRs, or you're not really lifting as much weight as you
Yeah.
usually can. So that's definitely something to look into. And I'll put some posts up on that topic, but it is really fascinating because I never knew any of that. And
Right.
now having that awareness, you're like, oh, okay. And then, like you said,
It makes sense.
okay, so maybe it's yoga the next few days, or,
Right.
just kind of like you said, listening to your body and understanding why, don't beat yourself up, I was able to do this last week. How come I can't do it this week?
Right.
There's something going on, and it might just
Right.
be hormonally where you
Right.
are,
Right.
so.
And the other thing that goes into that to help balance your hormones, people don't realize how important lean mass and muscle is in hormone regulation. And the more lean mass that you have, ladies, you need to build muscle because it will help your hormones. It will help your cycles. It will help all kinds of things if you can build lean mass. Most women are severely under muscled. They're also under protein nourished, right? They don't get enough protein. They don't have enough muscle. I don't know how many dozens of women I've worked with who, without even working out, we increase their protein and they start gaining weight and freaking out.
Yeah.
It's like you're gaining weight because you're building, your body's going, oh, I'm finally getting what I need to build muscle so that I can regulate my hormones and live life and do all that stuff. And it's not about the weight. It's about having the tissue that you need to regulate everything. So women, please build muscle, eat protein, lift some weights. You're not going to get bulky. It's going to help you feel better more often. It's just all around good stuff. That's my soapbox.
And get in those nutrients.
That's my
Yes.
soapbox.
Well, thank you. Yes, I love all of that too. We could talk about all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one. How about can working out or exercising help with arthritis?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily help specifically with the arthritis. I think it helps more with the management of the pain of arthritis. We could have another conversation about where arthritis comes from and how to address that nutritionally.
Right. Yep.
But that's not what we're talking about. But from a fitness perspective, building muscle, again, is going to help. Increasing range of motion is going to help. Take the pressure off and build strength in the joint so there's not as much pressure, right? So you may have issues, you may have degeneration, you may have calcium buildup, you may have whatever is causing your arthritis, but the more you can take the stress off the joint and put it into the surrounding area, you're going to have some pain relief. So, yeah.
Great. I'm sure they will be happy to hear that. Any advice for staying consistent or motivated? I do not like working out, but I know I need to for my
Yeah.
health, especially as I'm getting older. I just
Okay.
find it hard to stick to something, but I want to do it.
Right.
This
Let
is
me go
very,
back to the, yeah. Let me go back to the arthritis thing
oh,
real quick.
okay.
Because something just popped in my head.
Yeah.
If you have arthritis and you're looking at getting started with a fitness routine, it's gonna hurt at first, right? If you're already dealing with pain, not doing anything, it's going to be challenging mentally. So we'll talk about this next, to stay motivated to keep doing something because it's not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. Um, Find someone for that specific instance. I would say you want to find someone who knows how to work with someone with arthritis. Get a program, get a plan, put a plan in place, and here's how we're going to progress, and we're going to get feedback. Here's what you did today. How did it feel? How do you feel now? How do you feel the day after? Okay, let's try this the next time. And it's going to be a longer process because it's actually physically harder for you to do things
Right.
because it hurts. So just understand that expectation is a little different than someone who hasn't done anything and just wants to start working out again.
Okay.
So it's a slightly different
Right.
approach. So
Okay.
staying motivated.
No, I was
No,
just going to
good.
say, and you had just said that in the beginning it's going to hurt for those that have arthritis, but it's probably true for anybody that's just getting started, right?
Yes, yes. Uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Motivation is temporary. Commitment is what gets you through. So there has to be an understanding when you start something, you're not just doing it because you feel like you need to, and you're not just trying it out. If you're going to start something, you need to make the commitment, like you do in a marriage, like you do when you have a kid, like you do when you buy a house. Whatever that level of commitment, when you sign the documents on your mortgage, that's the level of commitment that you need to have when you're starting a fitness program or nutrition program or whatever else. I'm signing on the line. This is going to happen, right? And you need to have that reason. What is it that's motivating you to do that, right? What is that why? Is it because, for me, I never saw myself as the fat guy on the beach with man boobs, and that's not happening. I saw that picture. I was like, no, this is not happening. I'm going to make a change because that is not who I am. So whatever, and that's still in my head. Like that's keeps me going. It's 9, 8, 9, 10 years now, and I see that picture when I post it. I'm like, hey guys, this is where I came from. Like, and it just pisses me off every time. Like, how did I let that happen? So that motivates me no matter what, and it'll probably motivate me for another 10 years. You got to find something that gets your dander up, right? That's something that just fires you up and is like, this has to happen. I got to get this done for whatever the reason is. That in and of itself will motivate you and keep you going for a long time. To help make that last longer, find someone or find a group of people you can be accountable to. That's going to call you out when you step off the bus, right? But it's going to call you out when you don't show up, or when they see a picture of you, with the 6-pack in your hand, or whatever it may be, right? A bottle of wine, whatever you're trying to cut back or change in your lifestyle, and you go back to those ways that aren't healthy. Find someone that's going to keep you accountable and make sure you stay on track. At the same time, those same people can help keep you positive about where you're going and what you've done. One of the biggest things, and I was thinking about this on the way home, we have a society of negativeness, negativity, right? We always think about the things we're failing at and how we're not doing good. I fell off the wagon. Because somebody asked me, I was posting today, I made a post about how long I've been following the carnivore diet, right? It's 1,036 days I've been following carnivore diet. And one of the questions I got on my post was, well, how often or have you ever broken it, right? And the idea of breaking my lifestyle doesn't make sense to me. But because we have this structure and this strict, rigid concept of what nutrition is supposed to be, and the idea that nutrition can be flexible, right? That our lifestyles change and things happen and it's okay.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So we want to beat ourselves down because we broke it. We cheated. We did this. We did that. And it's all bad all the time. Right? I was bad today. I had a cupcake.
Right.
You weren't bad today. Right? You decided where I'm at with things that I'm doing. I want a cupcake. Okay, cool. get on track and then go for it after that, like whatever,
Exactly.
you know, it's so, I don't even remember where I was going with that, but trying to remember that it's not about being bad. It's not about being strict and rigid and regimented in what you're doing. It's about having that 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you're good over a week, over a month, over a year. Any one day is not going to set you back. Right. So that's motivation that way. Don't think about negative stuff because there's nothing negative. As long as you're doing what you can to get better, there's nothing negative. So sorry, again, that was just a whole brain.
No, when you were like, there's no bad, I was like, yeah. I talked about, this is like one of the core elements of my restart program is just, you're not cheating. There's no wagon to fall off of. You're just choosing, right? You're choosing whatever it is in that moment. You enjoy it thoroughly. You're choosing it consciously, and then you let it go and you move on. Like they're just thinking big picture instead of focusing on these little tiny things, right? So I'm glad that you threw that in there. Something else I was going to ask you that was piggybacking on what you just said as well. I don't know, maybe it'll come to me. So I was also thinking of my own experience, I also didn't start working out until later, probably late 30s. I was not athletic my whole life. I never played sports. I never did anything. Like I was really inactive. So actually my sister, who's probably still in here, has been a really big inspiration to me. She's older than me, even though several people have thought I was the older sister. So, but she's 14 years older than me, and she runs circles around me. She's a CrossFitter. And, she's another example of how, just age is just a number and, just dedication and so forth.
Right.
But what kept me motivated is, well, first of all, my mindset shifted to, I just want to become stronger. So it wasn't about, for me, it wasn't about aesthetics or, losing weight or looking a certain way. It was really just, I want to have more energy. I want to feel better. I want to be able, I just want to, and for just, maintenance. And I am getting older and I just want to be able to, as you said, be able to easily, the whole functional movement thing. I want to be able to easily lift things. I had little kids, babies that I was lugging around. Like I wanted to be able to do that and keep up with them. And when I was a member of a couple of conventional gyms for a while. And then my sister was like, you have to try CrossFit. You have to try CrossFit. And I was so intimidated by it, right? For the longest time, because in my head, I could never do things like that. I could never pick up throw a barbell over my head, or that's just crazy. But I bought a Groupon for top tier, and I was just like, I'm just going to try it. And I was sold. Like it was challenging and scary the first couple of days, but I think for me, it was just, like you said, the quality of the coaching, right? The level of experience of the coaching was just something that I'd never experienced before. But also over time, mastering skills that I never thought that I could do before, that was so motivating to keep going. So
powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah. Like, I mean, so, whether it was being able to lift heavier weight than 2 weeks before, or, climbing a rope.
I was just going to say,
I never thought I'd ever be
Yep.
able to do that at 40. And I tell you, I probably almost fell off the top of the rope the first time that I went up there because I was so excited. And so I think that's where, for me, I just continued on with it. And because then I was like, you know what? I can do this. I can do these things. Like, because I proved to myself that I could, I just mastered things that I didn't think that I could before. So sometimes it's just getting started, like you said, and just pushing yourself beyond that comfort zone, like you mentioned earlier. Even if it's just, it doesn't have to be crazy uncomfortable, but just being like, you know what? I'm just going to try it, even though I feel a little uncomfortable. And then you do it, and then that helps you, take that next step the next time that you're in there. And it's just like builds and builds.
Absolutely. And you get support of other people cheering you on and saying, hey, you can do it. How often two things. How often does somebody in their day have people that they know verbally tell them, you can do it.
Right.
You've got this. Keep going. Right. Like the power that is in those words of encouragement from people in your life is just not nearly pervasive enough in society. The ability for me to have a place that I can go. Top Tier is a great gym for that. For me to be able to go there and work out, and I'm a coach, and I still have people cheer me on, right? Yeah. So for a member who's no really idea what they're doing, they're just walking the door, they do a workout, they have people they just met saying, you've got this, you can do it, we're here for you. Like that's a level. And it's crazy. Some people get uncomfortable. Like, there's too much positivity. I can't handle this. Yeah. Like, what's going on here? So yeah, everybody needs more of that in their life. And then the ability as a coach, it is the absolute best thing ever to see somebody do something they haven't done before. There is all the stress of learning how to be a coach, learning programming, understanding movements, dealing with people, because it's a very interpersonal relationship type of thing, and that can be stressful. All of that goes completely away. Any stress, any thoughts of anything about the job, it doesn't become a job at that point. The minute someone climbs a rope for the first time, the minute someone does a box jump for the first time, even if it's 6 inches off the ground, right? The minute someone does a pull-up for the first time, a push-up for the first time, picks up a dumbbell and, for the first time, maybe they've never been able to pick a dumbbell up before, whatever it may be. That's what it becomes. This is why I'm doing this. This is where the excitement comes in, because that person just did something they never thought they could do. And that's what I'm going to start crying. That's what it's all about. It seriously is. So.
You're going to make me cry. No, I love that though.
All right, we're done. We're done. No more.
And it just, my hair was just standing up as you were talking. Yeah. I was like, because it's true. And I'm not a coach, but I love seeing other people succeed as well, whether it's in the gym or even, I know my jam is nutrition, but people that come in, for example, with all sorts of symptoms and they're just defeated and they've been from doctor to this specialist to that specialist, and they're on all these medications and they're just about to give up and they're not getting any answers. And, I just love empowering them. And it's the same with the gym, just empowering them. Like, they have the power to take back their health and to do these things. And it's just about, helping them believe that. Right. And then once they do, and then they, and like in the nutritional example, when they come back in, if we're working together and they come in a couple months later and they get their labs or whatever, and they're just like, oh my God,
what happened?
Like, everything looks great.
Magic.
And it's just, I love it. And I love it for them. I love it for them. Absolutely. Because then they believe like, oh, like, I didn't think that, I thought I was on my way out of here, and just from changing diet and lifestyle, moving their body more and changing their diet, like, they took their life back,
I love that. I love how you said that. They took their life back, because, and if anybody decides to follow me after this, my tagline on all my posts is freedom is choice. Your freedom is your choice. So taking your life back, your life is absolutely under your control. So if you're not happy with where you are, you have the power to get somewhere better. And that's the bottom line. It's just, what are you willing to do to get there?
You can do it no matter what age you are. I mean, no
matter what age. Yeah. No, age doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I tell people all the time in my classes, there are 25-year-olds and there are 75-year-olds. Like, and everything's modifiable. You just, because
so Greg Glassman, the founder of CrossFit, he said, see if I can remember the quote, our physical demands don't change by type. They don't change by what you need to do. They change in how intense or how hard you need to do it.
Okay.
We all need to do the same things, but we're not at the same places to do them all exactly as hard or as heavy or as fast or as whatever. But we all need to do the same things. Right? If you're 80, you need to be able to get off the toilet by yourself. Right? You need to be able to get in and out of a car without help. Like, those are the things that drive me crazy in society, where we just assume that because you're old, you're going to be weak.
Right.
Okay. We automatically, you're 60 years old and you're getting stuff in the mail about where do you want to live in assisted living? Like, no, screw that.
Right.
Screw that.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to be doing deadlifts the day I die. There's no way. It's not happening.
Yeah.
So.
You're right. You're so right. Gosh, I just had another question or something to say.
I
And it
hate
just
that.
blew my mind.
I get that all the time.
Does anyone have any questions? So there is a question: are you a nutrition, or are you a coach in nutrition? Do you have?
So I do coach people in nutrition. Keto carnivore is my space, is the space that I'm in. So I primarily do carnivore coaching, but not everybody wants to do that. So keto is kind of the next step, low carb. So as a low carb coach, I do nutrition coaching. But it's not really my focus. I do it because it's kind of an offshoot of what I do. And I've spent the last 3 years studying how it works and what to do. My focus is really on fitness and getting people to understand how to get started, and that it's accessible. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter how old you are. And then what fitness really is. Because I think a lot of people don't know what fitness is. They just think it's, I exercise, I lose weight. A lot of people equate skinny with fit. Right. And that is so far from the truth that it's much bigger than that.
Yeah. I mean, I get that all the time. Like, there are people that are super fit and defined and, what society deems as being, they look healthy, right? But they're a metabolic side.
They're destroyed. Absolutely.
And there are people on the opposite end that maybe don't fit that, stereotypical image. Yep. Maybe they're just larger framed, but they are metabolically healthy,
they're animals.
So there's a lot of misconceptions. Sure, right?
Yep.
Okay, let me see if I missed anything here. And if you guys have any, here we go. Any suggestions to energize if you do early morning workouts? So I guess in terms of this kind of, we covered
pre-workouts
with nutrition or drinking, or is there anything that I know that there's so many layers to that.
There is. If you are nutritionally sound in your habits and lifestyle, you should not need to boost your energy to do physical activity. I'll leave it at that. Because we could go dig in more, but I'll just leave it at that. If you're giving yourself the nutrition you need, your body should be able to tap into whatever fuel it needs to. And on top of that, another layer on that, if the training that you're doing is training the different metabolic pathways like it should, then your body will be good at using the different fuels and the fuels when it needs it. So you kind of go in, and if you're eating right and you're training right, you shouldn't need to pre-work out or boost yourself in order to do a workout. Most of that for most people is mental, because it's societal more than it is scientific.
Yeah, that was a really good question. And a lot of people have asked that. And I like where you were going with that. It's like some people, think that they have to eat something, right? Or drink something in order to have energy to be able to last during a workout. And what you're saying
cavemen didn't have pre-workout.
Right.
Right? When was it like, cavemen are like, hey, we're going to go on a hunt. All right, get your spears. Let's go. Like, do what you should be able to do whatever you need to do whenever you need to do it. That is freedom. That is untying yourself from the stress of thinking about food, thinking about supplements, thinking about all these other things in order to be able to do something. You are preparing yourself for life. Life is defined by the unexpected and the unknown, right? So you cannot prepare. You should not get into the habit of trying to prep for activity. Just do it.
Right. Yep. And if you guys have any questions about that, or how to nourish your body properly with, real nutrient dense foods, what burdens to maybe lift or cut out to help you maintain that energy or have good energy throughout the day, definitely reach out, because I love that.
Yeah.
I love
I mean, mean, Jamie, you've got a whole program on teaching people that and stuff. So that's, yeah, it's a great way to start.
Yes, thank you for that. So we are almost to an hour.
Okay.
Well, the first thing is are there any other questions? No.
Okay.
So is there anything that you would like to share? I'm going to ask you to share where people can find you. But prior to that, is there anything, I don't know, parting words or anything that you'd like to share?
We covered a lot today. No, I think just in summary, it doesn't matter how old you are. Pay attention to what your body's telling you, but do something. You've got to do something more than what you're doing right now. If you need guidance, if you need help, from a fitness perspective, if you're local to the Howard County, Maryland area, go to Top Tier, right? That's where Jamie goes. That's where I coach. I do personal training. I do the group classes a couple times a week. So there's an option there that's local to this area. If you're not local to this area and you're looking for an option, I have an online fitness app that you can subscribe to, where you get workouts, you get videos, you get access to me as your coach. So I can help coach you remotely. So there's a ton of different options. If you have questions, I guess I'll send it. You're in the group, right, Jamie? You're in my group?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can just put the link to my group. So my group is fitness based, right? Your group is nutrition based. My group is fitness based. And it's where people can kind of just get information and follow me and whatever else. If you want to check me out on Instagram, it's Bronson Dant 72.
And that's, just your full name,
Yep.
Dant with a T at the end, and then 72. And Bronson, he posts almost every day. There's videos where he's just chatting about things, and there's also videos where he's actually showing you how to do certain movements, whether he also shows the incorrect way to do it and, the correct way to do it. I love it because it's really broken down. There was a kettlebell video that I watched the other day, movement, and you were literally like, this is the wrong way to hold it.
Right.
You put your fingers in here. And I think people need,
Right.
There's one more question that just came in. I would love to know, if you were considering vegetarian options, can you still get good energy?
The vegetarian lifestyle is possible, but it's really, really, really complicated. And it adds a layer of complexity that makes it difficult to get the energy requirements you need without the toxicity and other issues, and protein. So it is possible, but the amount of effort that you have to put into it is really high compared to other diets.
By complexity, are you referring to?
Well, because
the pairing of food with the
pairing of
proteins, right?
Right, the pairing of foods, but also just in general, like it's higher in, it's so much fiber, it's so much carbs, and the calories per nutrients is so much higher. So in order to get what you need, your calorie count has to be so much higher that it's almost counterproductive in some ways. So without getting all into that, it is possible, but it's harder.
Yeah. And the other thing I always like to add to that is, what I see a lot is blood sugar regulation. Because they're, like you said, it just has to be higher carb. If you're trying to get in the proteins, you're eating more legumes and starchy carbs, which are not friendly when it comes to blood sugar regulation.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's
and then
another
you've also got anti-nutrients, you got and the fiber. Like, honestly, I don't know what your take is on fiber, but there's been a lot of information come out in the past 5 years about the detrimental effects on fiber. So if you have IBS, if you have there's a handful of things. What's the colitis? There's a handful of things that are actually exacerbated by an increase in fiber. So if you have people that are dealing with that stuff, vegetarian is definitely not the way to go, because that's just going to make it worse. So there's a bunch of stuff.
I mean, it's definitely, anybody that comes to me, like, I'm all about starting where that
Sure.
person is, and it's bio-individual, but also educating
Right.
them, like,
Right.
covering a lot of those topics, the deeper
Right.
like delving
Right.
deeper into those topics, right?
Yep.
But that was a good
It is,
question,
absolutely.
and the person actually they actually replied with, "I appreciate you saying that out loud." So that's funny. I love it. Okay, so you guys know where to find him. Bronson Dant.
It's been a blast, guys. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
I had a lot
this.
of
Let's do it again sometime. Whenever you
I
want
was
me
just
on,
going
just
to
let me know.
say, I'd love to have you back on and, answer some more questions, and
Yeah.
we'll be in touch. And yeah,
Are you going to be in
have a great
class Friday, Thursday? I think I got 12 o'clock Thursday and Friday.
I will probably be in hopefully Friday at noon. I'm going to do kettlebell tomorrow night, which, by the way, guys, if anybody in here is interested in virtual classes, Top Tier also offers virtual classes. You don't even have to be a member. You can be in a different state.
Yep.
So the kettlebell classes are 3 times a week. They're my favorite. They're $10 drop-in. You don't even have to be a member. And the coach is phenomenal. His name is Jason Schreiber. He's the owner.
He's okay. He's all right.
No, we have phenomenal coaches. But kettlebell is his baby. It's his thing. So, and if you're looking for home workouts, in addition to, the Zoom classes that I just mentioned, Bronson shared that he has a program, so you guys can check that out.
Yep.
So cool. All right, cool. Guys.
Take it easy.
Thanks for being here. And wait, thank you for being my very first live guest.
Hey, you broke the seal. Now you got to do one every week.
I know. I don't know about every week, but I'm definitely planning to do more. So, all right, guys, have a good night, and thank you for all the great questions and for your participation and for listening. See ya. Now I got to figure out how to turn this off. Okay, got it.